So this is part 2 of being intentional when building trust. You see, if you understand this idea and concept that every time you are dealing with someone and is a kind of relationship, if people will understand that some historical data is being taken, which if people have this idea that there's some historical data which is being taken, as a historical data that is being taken, which is going to be referred to every time that relationship is brought into question, every time you are going to be considered for another opportunity, every time you are going to be considered for, anytime you are being considered when that relationship comes into question. If people understand that every time you meet someone and it's a relationship and there's a need for some kind of a level of trust in that relationship, if people understand that every time you are dealing with someone, there's some kind of sheet somewhere which is being recorded for whatever you are doing, whether you are being truthful, whether you are being punctual, whether you are delivering on your promise. If people put this in their heads, a lot of people will pay a lot of attention, a lot of people will focus, a lot of people will make the right decisions, a lot of people will say the right things, a lot of people will show up on time, because you know that some data is being collected, data which is going to be referred to another time you are supposed to be considered for another opportunity or whatever when it comes to that relationship. It's very important. A lot of people don't have it. A lot of people don't understand that. Every time you're dealing with someone and trust needs to be built in whatever interaction and whatever encounter you're having, I want you to understand this. Everything you're saying, every action, every decision you are saying, the choice of words you are using, everything you are saying in that kind of conversation is being recorded somewhere, which is supposed to allow whoever, all the two parties, re-evaluate what kind of relationship they have. So in a marriage, if married couples have this understanding, married couples will be intentional, will be careful with the kind of words they use when they speak, will be intentional, the kind of promises they make. Even though you are not going to keep it, you don't say it in the first place. This is why a lot of people are just moving around anywhere. This is why it's also difficult for people to forgive certain people, because if they look at that track record which they've been keeping, nobody talks about it. But when there's trust needed, typically in a marriage situation, there is a certain records being taken that nobody talks about, but everybody is taking that record. Whatever you're saying, whatever promises you are making, if people know that whatever you are saying, whatever promises you are making, the kind of words you're using, the choice of words you are using is being recorded somewhere, so that it's going to be used in reviewing what kind of relationship the two of you have. People will put in the effort to say the right things. People will put in the effort to show up on time, because certain records are being taken that nobody talks about. It's very important. Now, that's the first thing I want you to understand. Records are being taken. Friendly relationship, marriage relationship, financial relationship, business relationship, records have been taken. What you said, why you said that, the promise you made, the time you said you were going to be there. Were you there on time, or were you not there on time? People keep checking back. You see, so it becomes difficult to forgive somebody who you've dealt with them the past for 10 times in the past, and all the 10 times in the past, they were never on time. It's difficult to believe them when they tell you, I'm going to be there on time on the 11th time, because when you check the track record, when you check the historical data, every time they said they are going to be there on time, they have never been on time. A lot of people don't have this. And so typically, you look at a person who has failed to be there on time when they said they will be on time, for the past 10 consecutive times they told you they're going to be on time. It is somebody who is not intentional, who is not disciplined when it comes to trust. Now, one of the things is, once you understand that certain records are being taken, which nobody talks about, which is hush hush. The next thing people have to understand when it comes to trust is trust has to be transparent. Transparency, open. Now, what's transparent? Not doing anything to raise suspicion when it comes to trust. Very important. What kind of relationship, whatever kind of relationship you are trying to build this trust in. Financial relationship, a business relationship, friendship, in a marriage scenario, an intimate relationship, your relationship with God. These things I'm talking about, I'm making reference so that I can, when I bring it, when I center it, when it comes to our spiritual walk and our relationship with God, some certain things will be clear to you. There is a need for transparency. A lot of people don't have transparency when it comes to relationships. So marriages are having problems because a lot of people who are there have not become intentional in building trust. Because if you intentionally want to build trust, it's going to require discipline. It's going to require commitment. It's going to require a focus. It's going to require sacrifices, certain things that you have to give up to just keep building that trust. When it comes to building trust, transparency is a crucial ingredient when it comes to building trust. And a lot of people their minds are not there. So people feel trust is just trust because it just comes out of the blue. No. If you want to build trust, one of the key ingredients is transparency. Be transparent, be open. Not not tricky, not trying to hide this, trying to hide that. You say A, but you mean B. You say B, you mean C. You say C, you mean Z. No. Transparency. Very important when you are trying to build trust. When you are intentional in building trust, transparency. One. Second thing is truth. Very strong. Transparency and truth. If you want to build trust, transparency has to be there and truth has to be there. And transparency is not doing anything to raise suspicion. You get it? You are working with your husband. When you meet someone, a friend, you have to introduce that this is my husband. Be transparent. You have to say, this is my husband. You have to be transparent. This is my wife. Be transparent. Show everything. Show your hands. That your hands are clean. It's a very crucial thing when it comes to building trust. And a lot of people don't do it. Even if the person you are meeting, the person in front of you is your ex, be transparent. Oh, it used to be my ex. This is my ex. Be transparent. A lot of the problems people are facing in relationships is because of this. You are with your husband. Introduce him. This is my husband. Introduce the other person. Oh, this is my ex. Be transparent. People, because of that shady thing, shady culture, we find ourselves in the world today, it's creating a lot of problems. So you are with your husband. You didn't introduce him that this is my husband. You met your ex. You did not introduce that this is my ex. And then 6 months later, your husband finds out that this was your ex. It starts creating problems on that record sheet that was being taken. When it comes to trust, what we are saying is, go and check the historical records for consistency. Every time, when something comes up in whatever kind of relationship, and people go and check this sheet, this data that's always is recorded every time two people meet.